Hello, and welcome to the Talking Point, which is our pre-podcast rambling video. I'll start off with two apologies. First is to Fiona. I am sorry for making your future husband look a bit like a depraved lunatic, but if you'd heard the things that he said off camera, you wouldn't still...
Thanks for that.
Come on, you can't give me that.
Last week's Talking Point was a low point for us. We made the mistake of asking people to tell us the worst thing they've seen on the internet, which in hindsight... It's just that is Pandora's box. You don't ever want to know.
It was Pandora's box, but to be fair, either we're very sick bastards or a lot of our friends are lying.
Well, the worst thing is, a lot of the things they come up with are they're the standard your mate's trying to pull a trick on you type websites. Yeah. Whereas the stuff we kind of covered was stuff we accidentally stumbled on. I think that's worse in a way. Although Mosh Miller, I think, had the best one.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
we'll go back over. The other apology is to anybody who thought we were a bit too deadpan with last... Apparently there were a couple of people that thought we weren't quite disturbed enough by what we were saying.
We're dying considering on the inside.
Considering the topics we were discussing.
I can't remember what we discussed. I remember my half, which
I
don't want to cover again.
And mine was holy water and Jesus. Little baby Jesus going somewhere he didn't need to be.
Oh yes, that's lovely.
Yes.
Lovely.
So we'll get on with your comments, and we'll start with Mike Lockwood, whose most disturbing thing he's learnt online is Rule 34.
I think this is either the tamest or the most haunting.
This is actually worrying because it could be the most disturbing, and if he thinks this is the most disturbing thing, then what is he thinking of that invokes Rule 34?
For anyone that doesn't know what Rule 34 is, and if you're here, we assume you do.
Yeah.
Rule 34 is basically if it exists, there is a porn version of it.
Yeah. If it exists, there is a porn of it. Rule 35 is if a porn does not exist, it will soon. And Rule 63 is for every male character out there is a female equivalent, and vice versa.
Huh, nice. Well, anyway, the reason why this is a bit disturbing is because I can't think of anything that would be a disturbing porn. Now, that's probably my brain literally not wanting it. Maybe there's something repressed in there. It's just trying to stop me.
Basically, your brain is going, no, we've had enough. Fuck off, we're done here.
If there was captions, my brain would be, nope. So what the hell is Mike thinking?
I have no
Mike,
idea.
Elaborate.
I did ask him for specific instances.
Yeah, come on, I covered what I covered last week, and I'm not going to mention it again, but that's bad enough. If he can top that, then...
No, other than that, Adam OMC came up with the anime Boku no Pico, which is it's a weird anime. It starts off as because it's part of a category of animes that I can't remember the name of, but they're all very young characters.
Pretty much kiddie age, like
not
teenager,
early to mid-teens. The characters are supposed to be.
Okay.
So it's their first fortes into relationships, and then it ends up with gay relationships.
What is wrong with the Japanese?
And gay relationships, then brother-sister relationships, and then gay with brother-sister and friends, and it just gets disturbing and messy.
When I was younger, if anyone told me they watched anime, I would think, that's a bit weird, but good for you. If that's what you're into, fine. Enjoy it. Now, I just think that's a bit weird.
Yeah.
I think it's just I hear about the worst sides of it. I imagine there's a full and rich kind of catalogue.
There's a hell of a lot there beyond Urasaka Doji.
Yeah, but the problem... I'm not laughing because I know what it is.
Yes, you do.
But everyone that watches the kind of straight, kind of acceptable side also seems to be aware.
Well, that's because...
and have knowledge of the other side. Which I'm not saying they watch both, but do you not find that a bit odd? Oh yeah, that's the one with kids in it. I mean, it's a bit weird. I know you read up on this, so it doesn't count, right? I'm not insulting you personally.
I didn't actually know about this one, but then when I read up about it, I didn't read far enough. I first thought it was just relationships, male, female, male, brother, sister, and things like that. Which, is getting a bit weird at that last bit, but that's not a problem. I suppose they're bringing it down to a younger character kind of adds a new twist on it, but then only from our cultural bias does it put that in there.
I think any cultural bias, sex with kids is wrong. Call me weird.
No, it's still illegal over there, but
but they kind of obsess. It's like the whole taking pictures of upskirts and things. I don't get it. What is wrong with the Japanese? I know it's not all of them. It's just some. But they don't set a good name for the rest of them.
But then when you look at it, and this is weird. This is a weird statistic that you'll find online, that they have all these, all the tentacle things, all the dodgy mangas and hentais, and all the games that involve all that kind of thing, and they have by far the lowest paedophilia and sexual deviance.
Do you think maybe this is just an export? You know, like Australia, they've got Fosters. Well, it doesn't actually. None of them drink it. It's not even Australian in the slightest. Maybe this is just for the Western people.
It could be export, but also it could be that by having these things, it's giving people that are not mentally retarded the outlet that requires. I don't know. It's just an interesting little twist on the statistics that they have.
There you go. The more you learn.
And then Michelle is the one that came with because yes, we did open ourselves to the gates of hell. Somebody had to look these things up. Now, she started off by going on. Do you want to read her comment? Because it's in her gobbledygook mind speak again.
I'm not even going to try and read it in her gobbledygook mind speak because it's gibberish.
Although she did remember that she had to download something by your mention of torrents.
Yeah, I find that odd. But yeah, okay, I'm kind of curious what it was. That's the worst thing. She didn't tell us.
No, she just remembered she had to download something. I think it was Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or something like that.
Oh, Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get into it, but that is... If you watch that, we could have a talking point on Breaking Bad.
Job
done. It's well worth it. Right, anyway.
The most disturbing thing she's seen is...
She strings it... We could speak in her mind, but she strings it on for about 20 sentences, and it's pretty much just...
It turns out that I mistook her. I thought she was talking about the anime I've just mentioned, Orosoki Doji, or something like that. That's my pronunciation, and I'm sticking to it.
I'm impressed with the accent. That was good.
Which is Legend of the Overfiend or Legend of the Demon Womb, whichever one you're watching, and literally it's demons and rape and all that kind of stuff. So I thought she was talking about that, and what she was actually talking about was human penile bifurcation. Which is a posh word for split penis. You don't want to know any more than that. You don't ever want to Google that term. I'm glad it's a difficult to spell word because it'll stop you Googling it.
I hope morbid curiosity gets the better of some people because just imagine them sat in their offices. I imagine people listen to this in their office. You just see collectively, again, I imagine everyone in the office listens to this. Just everyone just go, oh! Kind of like that sympathy pain you get when you see a footballer get kicked in the nuts.
It's not something you want to see, and my curiosity did get the better of me, and I had to basically work out what the fuck she was talking about. Thank you, Michelle. You will be made to pay for that.
It's not good.
And then over on Facebook, because that was our YouTube comments, over on Facebook we had...
I think more specifically, was it octopenis it was referenced? Or
yeah, octopus penis. That's what she was referring to it as. Which is also a disturbing thing to Google.
Think about that for a second, with all the different legs and, that kind of, Oh. How would you go to the toilet? That's what I don't understand.
I didn't want. Unlike you with last week's story. Yeah, unlike you with last week's story, I didn't want to stick around for research. I was happy to just leave that as one of those unanswered questions.
What is wrong with the world? This thread has has ruined my hope for humans.
No.
We should just nuke each other and get it over and done with.
Literally, it's kind of raised mine because people can see this shit out there and still function as normal human beings.
I'm not sure I can anymore.
Stuart Renton, where was he? He was the first one.
Yeah.
Discovered how many absolute cocktards there are out there onto the internet, and I'm using that word because that's a good description.
Yeah. Well, basically trolls and so on. There's just people that generally want to be arseholes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the internet's full of them.
This is it. I think people are generally low lives and utter scumbags with a plethora of emotional conditions. The internet just highlights them.
Yeah. Give someone the power of anonymity and you find out really what they're like.
Yeah.
Which is not usually nice. Let's be honest. Humans are bastards.
Speaking of bastards, we've got Dan's suggestion, which was the scientific.
Oh right, sorry, I thought you were referring to Dan.
No.
Sorry, carry on. Sorry, Dan.
His suggestion was the thing that disturbed him most was the researchers that basically claimed to have done a full head transplant on a monkey.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the monkey died.
Yeah, it was a success in a sense that they managed to stitch the head back on.
Yeah, and it was alive for for a little bit. It died very rapidly afterwards.
Yeah, it's
What bothered him about it was is who wants a monkey with an odd head, and who the fuck paid for this research?
But I can understand the reason for paying for the research. Severed head, if you can keep the head alive, keep oxygen going through it, and so on, could you essentially?
Well, I suppose, there are all those frozen heads of famous people like Walt Disney and that lot.
Basically, we want to get to the Futurama stage, don't we?
Well, I don't want them in a jar.
Why not? You're worried Nixon's going to come back out as a robot.
No.
Mrs. Nixon as a robot.
Because there's one very easy way to deal with Nixon as a robot, and that's turn the fucking body off.
Drop a piranha in.
Robots have off switches.
Yeah. Would you want to be a head in a jar? Maybe this should be our question.
No.
Would you want to be a head in a jar?
Well, no, we can't have that as a question because the answer is too short. No.
Why? Why wouldn't you? I want to be a head in a jar.
You're weird.
Well, you could live forever imparting your knowledge on people, and let's be honest, everyone likes to think they know best. So you just tell people how to do
you
it.
can spend eternity in a jar imparting the knowledge of what you discussed last week.
Oh.
Yeah, thank you for that. Moving on.
Not a problem.
He also mentioned 2 Girls, 1 Cup, which is disturbing.
That's the classic, isn't it?
Yeah, and just to make anybody who wasn't aware of this fact, 2 Girls, 1 Cup, the thing that everybody gets disturbed at is just the trailer for whatever the hell that is. So that means they were the highlights.
Again, this is not something I wanted to descend into.
No, generous amount of web space. Stuart comes back up with a generous amount of web space dedicated to animal rape, which is
I think
wrong.
That's probably that's winning as my most screwed up thing so far. Because that is just sick.
Roy Bass comes in with 1 Guy, 1 Jar, which I think we briefly mentioned, or did we not?
I don't know.
Which, to save you having to Google this and accidentally watch the thing...
You don't even have to describe it. Man, jar, orifice, smash. That's all you need to say.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's leave it at that.
Mosh Miller, his disturbing thing was all the videos from the war in Syria, the atrocities that have been done by Assad's regime, all this stuff, and
I'm with him, but at the same time, I was amazed at how desensitized I am to this stuff, because there's something about, because you're watching an act of war, I know it's not war, it's genocide, it's a war crime, but because it's on the news, for some reason it's kind of, it's detached in my brain. Something in my brain says that is a man who has done something wrong. The people he's done it to aren't happy. The world aren't happy, and let's be honest, he's probably not so happy about doing it himself. If he is, there's something a bit warped in his head. I don't think anyone is that.
Nobody enjoys what they do.
Exactly. Whereas pooing in somebody's mouth apparently is done for pleasure. And I think that's the bit that gets me. That's why that's more disturbing than the stuff that you see on the news. Somebody's doing that for pleasure, whereas war and atrocities and things... you can't be for them, but... Humans are bastards. Yeah. And we are a bit desensitised to it because we unfortunately, there's always been that going on. We had Hussein doing it before Assad, and it's just...
Well, we've always killed each other, and that's the problem.
But we've not always pooed in each other's mouths. That's...
Well, have we? Or have we? Do you know? Have you researched back into the past?
Neanderthal frat boys, maybe, but I genuinely... I don't want to know. I just think the humans...
But yeah, we agree.
I am ready to kill myself. Right? I've lost so much faith in humans after that.
Alec Ross Bauer
I'm not really going to kill myself.
Came up with the... said that him and his housemates would have a game at uni where they'd go and find the grossest thing on the internet, usually comprised of scat and all that shit, until they... but one of the most disturbing was when they stumbled across an amputee shoving her stump somewhere we won't mention.
Up a guy.
Yeah.
Let's leave it at that.
The other disturbing stuff, non-porn related, would be the stories of the Dylov Pass incident, where a bunch of skiers got trapped in an avalanche and...
Well, no, he didn't say avalanche, but pretty much, yeah. It was an avalanche. But people saw strange things that night, so obviously it got blamed on other things. But there are discrepancies. All their injuries relate to avalanche.
Yeah.
But there was scrap metal around. What probably happened was somebody blew something up, maybe with a missile,
that caused
an avalanche. These people were left disoriented, crushed by snow, had to cut themselves out of the tent, which explains why they were stuck in the tent, half dressed because half of the stuff was ruined, and they died. Yeah,
but what about the missing body parts?
Oh, someone missing a tongue. That is
some of them were missing tongues. Some of them had theirs that had fractured.
Fractured that avalanche could cause.
I suppose, yeah.
I like to think. Imagine the avalanche. 2 people sat opposite. Thud. There's the 2 cracked skulls.
Yeah, I suppose. No sign of struggle.
Some ribs as well were broken. The missing tongue. I can't figure. Unless she bit her tongue, really far back. I don't know how.
Well, no. If you get smacked, if your tongue happens to be out as you're speaking, and you.
Yeah. Well, you could bite your tongue off, and then wander off. I don't know. Right. Either way, it doesn't seem that unusual. We're not here to debunk it. It's just a bit weird.
Trevor came up with 2. First is the fact that a human skeleton can be completely stripped of all its meat by vultures in a little under 45 minutes. So if you die in the desert and there are vultures around, you will be a skeleton in that time.
Also, one thing I learned on the internet, this isn't necessarily sick, it's just something different. In Mongolia, they have a practice of, instead of having funerals and burying them underground, because it's very rocky in the mountains and no way to bury them, they cut the body and leave it out for vultures.
I see nothing wrong with this.
I find that a better way, because not only are you not burying a corpse under the ground to rot, which to me, there's something about having water seeping through corpses and then into the water supply that really...
But that's happened for millions upon millions of years for many animals.
It has. But it makes more sense, really, to get eaten.
Yeah.
I mean, logically, you spend all your life eating birds, they may as well eat you afterwards.
If you're stuck in the ground, you are getting eaten eventually.
Yeah, but it's not as fun when it's by bacteria. I prefer, vultures.
Fair enough. The other thing he came up with was a game-related one that I didn't know, and is quite creepy. It's about Pokemon. Now, Pokemon's a kiddies game, so this probably isn't widely known.
I've left a beer in the freezer.
Cubone is one of the original Pokemon. It's one of the ones that... Bring another one back with you. It's the one with the skull on its head and carries a bone, which is fair enough. It turns out that the skull on its head is that of its own mother. So when it evolves into Marowak and the skull fuses into the body of that Pokemon, it's fusing with the skull of its dead mother. That's pretty dark and twisted.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
I want to know when they lost all their inspiration for Pokemon. Because let's be honest, original Pokemon were pretty badass, and now the swords and microwaves and things.
Yeah.
I mean, what went wrong? Anywho.
Deborah Croupier came up with Rotten.com, which is, just...
We mentioned those are the sites that...
Everybody's seen,
but nobody visits.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. You don't purposely go to Rotten.com unless somebody says, oh, I've seen this crap on the internet, and you go, that's nothing, look at this. and then you all sit in silence for a bit, ashamed at what you've done.
Yeah. Tim Hassel is our last one. He came up with Phil on Facebook, which is a joke only my workmates will know. And 3 Guys, 1 Hammer, which does not follow in the same trend as the other XXXX.
Now, I've lost all faith in humanity anyway by this point, but even I'm not going to watch that because I think
No, never ever watch the video. Basically, it's 3 psychopaths, and I can't remember if they're Serbian or Slovakian, or they're from one of those, and literally it is them going on a killing spree, ending in the video that gets this moniker. Literally, it's just never, ever, ever, ever.
I'm not sure this talking point should be released. Because people will then look for these things.
No, we're here to tell them that these are the things out there to avoid.
That totally helps, doesn't it?
They're the things...
If somebody says, avoid this, what do you do? What's the first thing you do?
Avoid it.
You don't. Octopus penis. What was the first thing you did?
I avoided it by thinking I already knew what it was.
And then you Googled.
Only because it wasn't making sense.
And then you found it, and now you're haunted for life. None of these things should be accessed. And by mentioning them, people are going to want to access them.
No, they're not.
Alright.
And if
we need to do an edited version. Click this to avoid all of the filth, and then just go to the question, which we should now jump into.
Okay, this week's question, to actually take us back into sane realms for the future.
Stick to what we're good at, and, well, stick to what we know. Not necessarily good at it. So,
this week's question, because I can't believe we haven't done it yet, is which super ability of the X-Men would you have?
Jean Grey.
It's not a super ability. Name her abilities.
She's got badass abilities.
No. Name her abilities.
She's got telekinesis as well.
Yes. So that's...
Telepathic is another.
Yes.
Are we going as far as Phoenix?
What's the ability?
Spontaneous combustion. Mixed with telekinesis, telepathy. Anything, pretty much, right? She literally just do...
The power of the Phoenix is to completely alter the matter of reality itself.
Yeah, so anything, pretty much, is the...
reality manipulation.
Yeah, anything. If you're manipulating reality, it's like, it's a fish. You could do anything. Because you're manipulating the very world you live in. But anyway, that's a boring one. I can't go for that. You pick one and I'll carry on.
Well, there are quite a few to pick from, because obviously you've got Nightcrawler, who can teleport. You've got Wolverine, who's healing factor, adamantium skeleton.
Yeah, but he's tormented, isn't he? Bless him.
They are allowed, to be fair.
No.
You've got Pietro, who's Quicksilver, lightning fast.
See, I've narrowed mine down already. To the Nightcrawler to save money on travel costs.
That's such a mundane reason.
Or Juggernaut, because I'm a little guy. And
it would be the most hilarious Juggernaut, just running towards you.
Ding! Oh, I've stopped. But think about it. When I was young, right, I did play rugby at school. Everyone had to. We had no choice. Me playing rugby at school. I mean, it's the thought of it alone is ridiculous, because I'm like half the size of a normal human.
Yeah.
Female, let alone a human man. And all I could do literally was get that ball and run. I had speed on my side. If I ever got caught, I pretty much threw the ball and ran the other way. It wasn't even worth thinking about. I remember hanging from someone's leg as they carried on running. It's not worth doing. If I was Juggernaut...
Yeah.
And think of the money you could make from that. I'm thinking practically, right? Juggernaut, you look like a normal human, but if you can just carry on running, you could pass it off as not being a superpower, essentially, couldn't you? Nobody would notice. You just, slow down a bit, just carry on running and try.
What about Mystique?
Nah.
The shape-shifting ability, you can just walk into any job that you want and just take what you want, because they just think you're a member of staff.
You could, but how would you sleep at night? I mean, I think I'd struggle with the moral kind of aspect of it. No? Okay. I'd freak people out. So imagine I'm thinking like college and university years.
Yeah.
Imagine your mate takes a girl into his room, right? Change it to him and walk by the window. Hi! You could have... Oh, that'd be fun. But again, it's beyond practical...
So you thought of the most mundane way to use your ability to get your friend there. Because obviously you turn yourself into a female, pick them up, and then they walk out the room, come back in, and it's a male.
Next night go, oh well, and then you panic. Honestly,
then you remember that you're the mother of Nightcrawler.
Yeah, but Nightcrawler, just think about it. You could go on holiday anywhere. I don't know the limit of his... I know he can teleport, but...
He has to be able to see it or know where it is. I've been there before.
Oh, that's fine. So you just spend your university years travelling instead of going to university.
But he has to know exactly what's there, otherwise he can teleport into walls, in which case you're kind of stuck in a wall for the rest of eternity because you're kind of dead. Just
remember where the coastline is. Because you know where the sea's going to be, and if you're a couple of feet out to sea and a bit wet, who cares? You're in Thailand. You know, as long as you can pick somewhere that's always going to be safe, the chance of there being a boat there at that very second are quite slim.
But they're quite slim, but it could happen.
Yeah, it's probably about as likely as a plane crash, in which case...
I see.
Same risks.
I noticed that neither of us have gone anywhere near the big ones like Cyclops. Who the fuck would want to be Cyclops? Not even Cyclops wants to be Cyclops.
No, it's a nightmare, and you have to wear stupid goggles at all times.
Hank McCoy. I could pass that off.
I never really saw him as a superpower. I had him as a pure mutant. He wasn't. He was just an educated bloke who was a bit more muscly and could hang upside down.
But he had the super agility to go with it and super strength.
Yeah, but to me that's not. He wasn't necessarily super strength. He was just a big muscly dude. Granted, that came from his mutation. I'd find it a bit mundane. He's a bit plain. Yeah. You know, you'd look at him and you think, "Wow, you're a bit weird." Not super.
Xavier Magneto.
Magneto's quite a useful one. Would be quite fun, but the ability to manipulate metal. I have no artistic ability.
Yeah.
I honestly, in my head, I would be like sculpting a swan, and it would just be a ball, because I couldn't quite. I mean, it's not worth it. As far as Xavier, I mean, he can read minds, kind of influence people. That's all well and good, but again, it's the whole living with yourself thing, because you have to be immoral really to use that to your advantage. So really, Juggernaut, it's a talent more than a superpower.
Yeah.
I know it's a
superpower. So you want Juggernaut or Nightcrawlers?
Yeah, I'm going to go Juggernaut.
You're going to go unstoppable force or teleportation. You're not going to try. You're not going to try.
Unstoppable force. I can pass it off as a talent and make lots of money.
Fair enough. I think for all the characters, it'd either be for me Gambit.
See, I don't find that one useful at all. Am I being daft here?
Yeah.
Oh, demolition worker. It'd be quite good, yeah. Just go and touch all the supports and then run like a bugger.
Yeah. Or Forge. Now, Forge is super intelligent. Really, really base with his technology, so he has the ability to basically manipulate all technology as soon as he sees it. So the moment he finds new technology, he instantly learns how it works and able to pick it apart, use it for his own ends. His entire arm is replaced by mechanical because he lost his arm at one point. And
alright, but essentially can be.
Or the other one is Cable. Now, Cable is an absorber. So basically, other people use attacks on him. He absorbs the ability and reflects it with more force. So.
But again, that's pretty much. I'm going down the route you picked on my mundane reasons.
Yeah.
Now Gambit, I don't see the benefit there.
I like things that blow up.
Yeah, granted, but again, the moral aspect, you'll probably kill someone.
Fireworks shows. You're a fireworks operative for the rest of your life.
You know, the deck of cards. Go, this is cheap. Just
yeah. That'll be 30 grand, please.
You know, New Year's Eve, if you timed it right, if you had Nightcrawler as a friend, can he take you? I can't remember. Could Nightcrawler take people with him?
Yes.
Yeah, well, there you go. If you got Nightcrawler as a friend, you could do the circuit and earn a fortune in one night. Just follow
take the rest of the year, take the rest of the year off.
Yeah, it's perfect.
So that's it.
I'll be Nightcrawler.
I'll be Gambit.
Job done. But I still.
What?
What were your other ones? Absorbing. That essentially somebody's got to shit on you for you to shit on them back. Which I'm not drawing on previous conversations, but what are the chances of somebody using force against you if you're just an average guy? I mean, you might not even know you have that power.
True. There is that.
So then your other one was cable.
No, forge.
Forge, sorry.
Cable's the one that can absorb energy, absorb punishment.
Yeah.
And
Forge is a geek, basically, who can figure out how things work.
Instantly.
Yeah.
Instant grasp of technology.
Alright, quite appreciate that one, but it's behind the times already, because somebody has to have made it for him to understand it.
Unless he's discovered alien technology or...
Fair point, but that's you're relying on aliens now. I think your best one was Gambit. I think Gambit for firework displays was... This is the problem. Superpowers don't work in the real world. You've got to think of real world applications.
Why did I have to stick it to just the X-Men?
We can do another one next week. But this week, you're a firework display operative, and I play rugby.
Okay, right, let's pass this on. Because I didn't want to go for Wolverine, because that's obviously the one everyone will go for, the healing.
He's the most tormented one, though, of all of them, though, isn't he?
Because if you're only having the ability and not...
But you can be healed, and people will make the most of that. Hey, this guy can't die. Really? Let's operate on him. You would get abused. I mean, it's not worth it.
Anyway,
it'd be 3 guys, 1 hammer, and a guy who won't die.
Oh,
it's just not... You see what I mean? In real life applications, superpowers don't work. Unless you're a rugby player or a fireworks operative. I think I've put a downer on things. I blame the previous conversation. That's what it's done to me.
Yeah. Which X-Men ability would you have? Answers on a postcard or anywhere else you want to download.
It's not allowed to be Jean Grey. That was the rule that was set for me, so it's set for them as well.
No. Just because they can't. The Jean Grey rule is Phoenix is too powerful as a thing, but reality alteration. Phoenix isn't the only one that's done it.
Oh, fair enough. I'm going to nod and smile because I don't know the X-Men comics well enough.
The Scarlet Witch, she rewrote all of the Marvel reality down to the point where there was only about, I think it was 16 mutants left in the entire world. She just took away everyone's mutant abilities.
That's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh fuck, I forgot Apocalypse. Anyway, video's over.
Answers on a postcard or on YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah.
Twitter. Oh, you can find us on YouTube, Facebook and Twitter.